everyone. So today we're going to be taking a look at a deck that I've actually had for quite some time, but haven't ever actually gotten around to recording, and that is Adventure Time, which is a deck that focuses on using the adventure mechanic from Throne of Eldraine. I honestly net decked this. I can't remember exactly who the original composer was, but I have made some alterations to make it fit better, especially since we now have Heroic Intervention. Not only did I get 2 from the draft, or not the draft, but the sealed game, but I ended up opening another one in one of my prize packs. So, let's go ahead and do a quick go through. It's a pretty simple design. So, most of the cards in here are all creatures that have the adventure mechanic on it. And then there's this card here, Lucky Clover, which says whenever you cast an adventure, you can copy it, and if it targets something, you can choose another target for it. And then of course we have Edgewell Keeper, which says whenever you cast a creature spell that has an adventure on it, draw a card. It doesn't necessarily need to come from the adventure zone. You can just play it from your hand for, if you need to, which we actually do from time to time. So going through the creatures with adventure, we have Falmar Knight. This is on the creature side, it's just a 1/1 with Death Touch for 1, which is not bad. Typhoid Rats. And then the adventure side is Profane Insight, instant speed. For 3 mana, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Really, it's not that great, but you also can't deny the fact that there's 2 spells on 1 piece of cardstock, or digital cardstock in this case. So it's not bad either. We have Order of Midnight. This one's actually really good. So the creature side's kind of lackluster. It's a 2/2 flyer that cannot block for 2 mana, but the Alter Fate sorcery for 2 mana says you can return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. It's not always relevant, but it's still pretty good. And as a matter of fact, I actually use this in a couple of different EDH decks because of the versatility off of it. Next we have a non-creature. This is Lava Coil. It does 4 damage to target creature, and if it would die, exile it this turn. Every once in a while we come across a creature that's just a little bit too big for us to handle, and yeah, this is just one of the most efficient excuse me, one of the most efficient ways to remove it. On top of that, it takes care, or it helps take care of things like Oko, and some other creatures that you don't really want coming back from the graveyard, which I think Oko. Oh no, sorry, not Oko. Uro, the Titan. We have Heroic Intervention, which I mentioned earlier. Basically, what this does is gives your permanents hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So if you're taking a risky swing, maybe against something that's got Death Touch and you don't want it to die, this is a good way to handle that. And on top of that, you can keep things from getting burnt out. I only have 3 copies because ideally this is actually a sideboard card. It is not something you usually want to put in your main board, but I've been doing best of 1 on Arena basically since I started playing, and yeah, so that's what I have in consideration. Glancing over Lucky Clover, we have Murderous Rider, which is another very popular card. The creature side, again, is lackluster. It's a 2/3 with lifelink for 3, and its second ability isn't relevant, but it says you can put it on the bottom of its owner's library when it dies. But the Swift End part is actually pretty good. It's basically, what is it called? Hero's Downfall at instant speed. Destroy target creature or planeswalker and you lose 2 life. I think what really makes this valuable is that you get to play the Hero's Downfall and then you get a body afterwards. And lifelink is not something to ignore, especially given the fact that this is considered kind of a slower deck. Next we have Bone Crusher Giant, and this is actually the only reason why I play red in this deck. I mean, don't get me wrong, the fact that I can add Lava Coil is a bonus, but most adventure decks actually focus around the green-black, which makes sense. It's got a cheaper mana base and it's a lot easier to maneuver that way, but I really cannot discount the value from Bone Crusher Giant. This is arguably one of the best cards in the deck. So the creature itself is pretty good. It's a 4/3 for 3, and whenever it becomes the target of a spell, it deals 2 damage to that spell's controller. So if someone tries to burn it, they get burned in the process. If somebody tries to just kill it, they get burned in the process. If somebody does anything to it, even just pacifism, it's going to cost them. And then of course it has Stomp, which is Not great on its own as a burn spell, but it actually works really well when it comes off with Lucky Clover. It says damage that can't be prevented this turn, and Stomp deals 2 damage to any target. So, I mean, like I said, as a spell, it's not that good. But the fact that it's a spell that you can later play again as a creature, that's good. Lovestruck Beast. This is kind of an interesting one. This is again one of the more powerful cards in the deck because because it's a 5/5 for 3. It does have the condition that it cannot attack unless you control a 1/1 creature. But that's not a huge issue because the sorcery for 1 mana allows you to create a 1/1 white human creature token, and even if that dies, we pretty much never attack with the Edgewalling Keeper unless we're finishing the game, and then we also have Foulmire Knight, so we don't have to worry about Lovestruck Beast being unable to attack most of the time. And then finally we have Beanstalk Giant, which most of the time we just use as ramp. Ideally, we hit turn 1, whatever, turn 2, Lucky Clover, turn 3, Beanstalk Giant, and we get to get some solid ramp out of it. For Fertile Footsteps, the sorcery adventure on it, which says you search your library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield and shuffle your library. You do not have to tap it either, which really helps with the overall plays. And then you can cast it for 7, which is pretty steep, and its PT is equal to the number of lands you control. Outside of that, we do have a mana base that is a tad bit interesting. You'll notice that we actually don't have a whole lot of non-basic lands, and the reason for that is because we want to get as many hits as we can off of Beanstalk Giant, and on top of the fact that we also have Fabled Passage. Now, this is where the biggest problem with this build comes from, kind of, just a little bit, is the unbalanced mana base, but we haven't really had, or at least I haven't really had, an enormous issue with it that much in the past. Do I have another Overgrown Tomb? I do not. Okay, never mind. That explains why I'm still using Jungle Hollows. So yeah, but it's 23 lands on top of all of that stuff, and I think you'll find that the value from being able to get 2 spells off of 1 card as frequently as we do really pays off in the end. So with that said, let's go ahead and play a few. Play a few games. I like this dragon art. I don't know why. I like high fantasy art in general, but this one in particular really speaks to me. Alright, we're going against Heartless Zarek. Zarek sounds familiar. It's like a fantasy thing. Okay, so we have Fabled Passage and 2 basics, Edgewalling Keeper, Lucky Clover, Order of Midnight, and Lovestruck Beast. So we have the Lucky Clover to combo off, but we don't really have anything that really benefits from it. Nonetheless, it's still a very much keepable hand. Alright, so because we're not really doing anything mana specific, we're going to go ahead and play the Forest and get the Human for now. And on the following turn, it's going to be Swamp Lucky Clover. Arboreal Grazer. Land ramping. Cool. Grazer's going to get a lot better in the future. Alright, cool. So we're going to go ahead and drop another Lucky Clover. No point in attacking. What is this supposed to be? Like a weird long fingernail slog? Well, whatever they're doing, they need to generate a ton of mana with it. Oh wait, no, is that the one I'm thinking of is? Oh, yeah, they still need to generate a ton of mana. Oh, check that out, Lucky Clover. So, yeah, we won't be able to use the Lava Coil now, but we do have a Fabled Passage available to us. In the meantime, we're going to play Lucky Clover and end the turn. We're not going to attack. Alright, so they're playing another Portcullis Find. It's kind of weird to see that actually in the constructed deck. Like, sure, you can draw a card, but how relevant is that, really? Oh, yeah, Resolve. Don't want to stall this guy out. Another Temple. I think this guy is kind of just stalling or he doesn't have an actual plan yet. But we'll see. He's got a lot of stuff that with high defense, and I'm wondering if that might be part of his battle plan. I think there was recently a card printed that has an impact on your gameplay based off of that. So we're going to go ahead and play Lava Coil, get rid of this Dryad before he can get any noteworthy value off of it. And then I guess we'll play the Edgewall Innkeeper just so we can start getting value off of it next turn. We're still not attacking because there's not a whole lot of point in doing that. I don't think he's going to be capable of getting rid of the Edgewall Innkeeper, but he is capable of drawing a card by getting rid of this Wall of Vines. Okay, cool. We'll go ahead and drop the Fabled Passage, and then, yeah, let's go ahead and activate the Fabled Passage, and we'll go get a Swamp, just so we can balance out our colors here. And we're going to start by playing Order of Midnight. And if we don't get a good draw from this Edgewall Innkeeper, we get a good draw. Especially with 2 Lucky Clovers on the field. So, we'll use Stomp, target the Overlord Grazer. The Charm goes off, we target the Grazer again. The second Charm goes off this time, we target the opponent. Our opponent is now wide open, and we can start swinging. Not a lot of damage, but we're finally in a situation where I think we're going to see a constant upper hand for us, because next turn I will at the very least be able to play one, if not both, of the adventure creatures. March 2. Alright, now he's got 5/1/1 lifelink. That's going to cause some issues when it comes to stalling, but it's also not the worst in the world. We really need cards, so I think we're actually going to go ahead and take advantage of the Foulmire Knight, combo it off the Lucky Clover. 3 mana, 3 life, 3 cards, that's not bad. See, the initial adventures frequently actually have pretty garbage stats, but, you know, when you combo them off with the Lucky Clover, they tend to be pretty great. Like, next turn I'm going to be playing this Beanstalker Giant and getting... I don't know if I'm going to get 3 lands off of it. Do we even have 3 left on the deck? Jeez. That Blood Crypt is my first non-basic this entire game. I'm pretty sure there's at least 1 forest and 2 swamps left. And a mountain. Alright, so we will go ahead and block one of these soldiers with the Love-Struck Beast. Ooh. Rough. Very rough. But we can still possibly turn this around pretty easily. So, let's also consider the fact that we have a bunch more of these to deal with. So we're not going to be attacking this turn, and... let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We also have the Beanstalk Giant. I think if we start by casting the Giant, the Fertile Footsteps side of it, and then we'll go get a mountain, a swamp, and then another swamp. And then we still have the ability to cast a bunch of other stuff. See, we're just getting absolutely flooded with value over here. Alright, this time we are only attacking with the Order of Midnight because we need to block with everything else. Because, I mean, 9 life isn't like the end of the world, but it's... oh! They quit. Intimidated by value. I'm at 9 life, he's at 19, but he's got 1 card and I have 4, and I'll just keep drawing. pretty good situation, you know. Alright, that was a good start. That was a good little start. Let's go ahead and keep going. I'm telling you, this is one of those decks where the incremental value alone, as long as you can get a good start, will have a significant payoff in the long run. Shinjin, I think that's what her name was. His, her, whatever. Alright, so we got all of our colors on our lands. We got... actually, this is a great start, actually. Yeah, we'll keep this. Alright, so we'll go ahead and drop the Jungle Hollow. And then... I guess we'll see what happens. Alright, I kind of want to drop the Stomping Ground just in case I need to use the Bone Crusher Giant. But there's also... let's do it. I mean, we gained a life, so we're really only losing one. And won the turn. Now, see, check it out. He'll probably give it haste. He did. So, yeah. Good call on our end. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and drop the Forest, use the Beanstalk Giant, and we will go get us, let's do a Swamp. And, I might actually need the adventure side of that Fellmire Knight, so we're just going to go ahead and pass. Hexproof, Riot, and Trample. Probably gonna go for the haste again. Go for the haste. Alright, let's see. My Hexproof is gone temporarily. I think we're gonna pull a really interesting move here, at least in my personal opinion. And we will... oh, hold up. We gotta make sure we tap this right. That part doesn't matter. We'll cast the Fellmire Knight, Profane Insight. Let's get an extra card here, which, good move. Put down the mountain, and then I'm going to go ahead and put down one touch. That way, if he swings the Gruul Spellbreaker again, we'll still take damage, but we'll kill him or it'll just get punished. But you know what? Bait is good too. Okay! Alright, so now we need to really start making sure we have some set of defenses. So we'll go ahead and put on the Bone Crusher Giant. Wait, hold on. Okay. Specifically go red, and then black. Stomp that Zerg at the draw, stop it. And then we will play the Heart's Desire on the Lovestruck Beast. So in this situation, we'll probably trade the Gruul Spellbreaker, unless that Bone Crusher Giant gets stomped. Oh, I stomped the Human right there. Alright, we guess we're trading. Better than the next year. I think we can actually play the Beanstalk Giant now, which is what I'm going to do. Because that will be a sufficient blocker against the Bone Crusher Giant. I will say though, I really like the fact that they went for the straightforward green-black deck, green-red deck. That's not going to help a lot. At least not him. Oh, I didn't know that you had like a little shadow animation for the Bone Crusher Giant. That's cool. Alright, cool. Now his power increases with the devotion to red. I don't know how much of that really concerns me. Let's think here. I would say it really doesn't concern me that much. So we're gonna go ahead and put down Eldraine Tomb, put it down taps because there's not a whole lot of point in losing life right now. When we don't need to, we will kill Annex. And this just says it can't attack. So we will go ahead and cast it as a defender. But we are not going to attack. I still think we have the potential to outvalue our opponent here, but it's going to take some luck, and it's going to take some depending on them making bad decisions. Alright, so we'll go ahead and play the Fabled Passage, play the Bone Crush Giant, and the Murderous Rider. And then I'm actually going to use Altar Fate to go get... Ooh, actually, you know what? We kind of need to draw cards, so I think I might actually get the Foulmire Knight. It's not my favorite, but that'll work. And then we'll just leave that alone for now. They might actually do some significant blocking to get rid of the Giant, but even if they don't, their other options are to lose big things in exchange for small things, so that's a good choice no matter what, because those satyrs can't block. Alright, so blocking with Annex and a Bone Crusher Giant, so they're aiming to take this thing out. Alright, I have 9, so I'm just gonna kill it no matter what. That's a good trade to me. 3 for 1. That's a good trade to anybody, actually. Now, of course, he gets a bunch of satyrs, but that's going to be a little more than just, like, annoying. Because he has 8 of them, sure. But it doesn't mean the 5 are going to get through if he attacks with all of them. Is he GGing me because he thinks he can win? No, he's GGing me because he knows he lost. Okay. Pretty cool little build, and we didn't even get our primary value engine, and we still managed to get a pretty solid stomp out of that. Alright, 100 gold, some level up business. Let's go again. Alright. Terrible Towel 71. Okay, again, this is an okay starting hand. The main thing I like right now is the fact that we have 2 Beanstalk Giants. Yeah, we'll keep this. Hopefully, we'll draw into a Lucky Clover fairly soon, because then we can start getting, like, extra value. Now, that's the one downside of this deck is 2 of its primary components that make it good, Edgewell Innkeeper and Lucky Clover. There's not really a way to fetch them, so you kind of have to depend on luck. I'm playing Fabled Passage here because the plan is I use it to go get a mountain, play a forest, and get rid of that Healer Hawk, because Healer Hawk means one thing. Actually, yeah, we're doing a lifelink deck, which tells me I am most likely eventually going to have to deal with the Johnny's Pride Mage. That's actually probably what I need to hold out for. I can deal with like 1 damage from Healer Hawks. Okay, so we will go ahead and put down a forest and the turn. And hopefully if he has an upcoming a Johnny's Pride Mate, he'll play it now so I can get rid of it. What the heck is this? Indulgent Partition. Flying lifelink. At the beginning of the end step, if you gain 3 or more life, each opponent loses 3 life. Oh! Wow! The whole drain thing's getting kind of intricate these days, huh? Okay. With that in mind, I think we're going to take out the Healer Hawk. I was going to wait for the Pride Mate, but that's a pain in the butt, and unless I get a Lava Coil soon, it's just going to get worse. Oh, hey, look, another Bone Crusher Giant. So we didn't actually find ourselves in a particularly situation. We're gonna get a Forest because I'm going to play Edgewell Keeper, and for luck, that thing doesn't get killed, and I can start playing creatures next turn. The idea. No. My value. You suck. Alright, we still need to prevent that lifelink ability from becoming super beneficial, so that's what we're gonna do. Play the Fabled Passage. Activate it. And I guess we will get a Swamp. We'll go Forest, Swamp, Giant. Very few footsteps, I guess. And we'll go get a Forest, not for any particular reason, really. Let's see. I think the correct thing to do here, especially since that Stray is on the ground, is to play the Bone Giant. Because worst case scenario, it draws up bait. This is going to end up being my most difficult match yet with Adventure Time. It'd be really interesting to see how this deck would play against 4-color draw, honestly. Oh, passive! Get burned. That's actually pretty unfortunate. Oh cool, Murderous Strider, so at the cost of 2 life. And mana, we're going to get rid of the most annoying creature on my opponent's side field. And then we're gonna go Fertile Footstep, Swamp. For balance. And then let's see, 4, 7, I can start playing Giants next turn. And I have 3 of them. Okay, so the Crystalline Giant just got death dead. Oh, shoot. I really need value. I think that's the direction we're gonna have to go. Do we have anything in the graveyard to get? Oh, yeah, we can use Order of Midnight to go get the other Edgewell Innkeeper. As a matter of fact, since we need a Moment of Value, that's what we're gonna do. So, we'll do that. Drop that. And that. Because lifelink is pretty relevant right now, we'll go ahead and cast the Murderous Strider. We can remove those Edgewell Innkeepers all day long. Let's see, on this upcoming turn, another Stray. So on the plus side, it looks like I've managed to really decelerate their value options, which is good, very good. Next, we just got to get rid of the stuff that's on their side of the board. And that's actually going to be fairly tricky, unless I can get into another Murderous Strider. Once I do get into another Murderous Strider, hopefully we can have Hexproof by then. Yeah, I don't want to lose my Edgewell Innkeepers yet. That blocks. Oh, you know what? I have Felmire Knight. Yeah. That would be a good cast, yeah. Oh look, let's lower. So now we'll just be proactive. Put one over. Stomp. Take out the Giant. Double Stomp. And then oh! They quit! They quit! Yes! Outvaluing our opponents has succeeded yet again. I'm in gold tier. That's cool. I haven't been there for a while. Oh, how many games has that been? Is that 3? Is that 4? I don't know. It's been half an hour though, so I guess we'll go ahead and call it at this point. So yeah, that was Adventure Time. I didn't pull any of my heroic interventions in that entire round of gameplay. That's awesome. So yeah, it's a fairly interesting deck, very, very powerful. If nothing else, value is just an endless trump train. It does have weaknesses against fast decks, but I think overall it's going to be a pretty strong contender overall. And on top of that, both paper and on arena, it's not that expensive to build. And post rotation, I think it's going to maintain its power because of how much it relies on basic lands. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of the night, or day, or whatever.